Greetings, blessings, salutations once again. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and today, once again, just want to open up and share some time, offer some of my more recent inspirations and observations, hopefully sharing some things that might be helpful to you, whoever tunes in now or joins later. And for those who have already popped in, made their appearance known, God bless. Thank you. Jessica Jane, you share such a beautiful light of encouragement many places around these YouTube things from what I've seen. And Dominic, God bless. Thank you for your continuing encouragement. And Special K, I see some other names popping in here too. You tell me. God bless. Thank you. Brothers and sisters, today, it may only be Thursday, I think. It may only be a Thursday. May only be another day in your life, another day in history. It may be one just like everything else. Or could it be a new beginning? For some it is. For some, today is a new beginning. For some, it's a new end. Life is created, life is lost, relationships, businesses, all sorts of happenings are happening. And I am the Tau. God bless. It is Talcott time. Thank you. Today, I was playing around trying to figure a topic. I'm really kind of discussing the same thing each day. I'm not looping, but I'm trying to offer different perspectives on life, right? And within each of us, there is a self and a self-identity, a recognition and an awareness of being. But this experience of life can be kind of, it's a challenge. This life can be a bit confusing, puzzling, sometimes overwhelming. Life can definitely be frustrating sometimes. But you know what, brothers and sisters? What I found is the best thing to remember for myself. Life only happens now. Now is when this life is being lived. EBT, welcome, brother, and greetings and salutations for all who do show up. Hey, life ain't easy, correct? But I believe when we train our egos to get out of the way, life can be much more simple than society has convinced us to believe. Society, through tradition and enforcement of traditional observations, people have been brainwashed into believing all sorts of stupid shit. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, some of the things that people believe in, but you know what? Okay. I used to believe in a lot of stupid stuff myself. And it was all logical when I did it. My memories, for those who don't know, they include raising my hand and pledging allegiance for military service a couple of times, and then taking another oath of public service. I used to believe in a lot of things. I know my heart was in the right place most times. Most times it was. But even the military service, when I was doing it, I wasn't real proud of it. I saw what was happening. I was part of a killing machine. Thankfully, my service was actually peaceful. I was blessed with many of my journeys, but doesn't mean I didn't learn. Doesn't mean I wasn't challenged. It just means that, well, whatever it means, who knows? All I know, brothers and sisters, is that today, right now, on this world that we're all sharing, there's a lot of amazing opportunities, but there's also some intolerable suffering that's taking place. There's so much civil unrest, economic unrest. There is a lot of conflicts throughout our species. And brothers and sisters, we've got to grow up, okay? Serious. Look beyond the different shades of color of skin. Look beyond the different dialects of language. We got to recognize that around this world, all around the world, whatever shape it might happen to be, there's a lot of people just like you and me who could use some help. You know, they're maybe praying to God, please save us. I used to pray that for myself until I realized in my life, I was personally responsible for the majority of my suffering. I've heard the stories of many others. Some of the things they went through as children, some of the things they've seen as adults. There's a lot of people in this world, brothers and sisters, who have been through darkness, maybe beyond what you might have experienced, or maybe I'm speaking to one of you, some of you. But it's my belief, it's my faith, perhaps, right? I'm just following logic and reasoning, though, so follow along with me. It's my faith and belief that the darkness of society, the corruption of the economic system, the banking system, the pharmaceutical system, the education industries, I'm confident the darkness is becoming so visible for us all that we're going to have to snap out of our damn denial. And I believe that when that happens in this world, people are going to wake up to what is true, what is real. What is real is right now. And the future, we don't know. We do not know the future. The self, the egoic mind, you know, this egoic mind persona of us, the character of us, it wants to replace God. The body and the spirit, I was reminded of that in the scripture recently, is that the body, the flesh and the spirit work against each other. Because the flesh wants to preserve itself, or it wants to glorify itself. The self, the egoic, worldly self, the selfish part that is within us, it must be overcome. It's easy to give. It's easy to offer. It's easy to humble yourself with practice and intention. And then I guess that it is part of life, though, too, is learning when to offer, when to humble. In my life, because of the bizarreness, trying to resolve what's been happening, I've been erring on the side of being generous, right? If someone comes into my life and they happen to have a need that they share with me, because I don't know all the details of whoever I interact with, but if they share a way for me to be able to improve their lives, I do honestly try to do that. And I do see Special K. I served 2 enlistments in the Army. I went through Fort Knox for basic, Fort Benjamin Harrison for AIT. So Kentucky, then Indiana. Then the taxpayers in the Army flew me to Germany. I did 2 years in Germany, and then I volunteered to go to South Korea. So the taxpayers flew me to South Korea and put me in Seoul for a year. And then I re-enlisted to be closer to what I considered home. And I re-enlisted for station of choice, and I ended up getting out at Fort Lewis before it became Fort Lewis McChord. Holy cows. I'm able to recall these things as though it's true, but it feels like such a lifetime ago, like a past, distant lifetime, like it's not even real. Holy cows, man. Brothers and sisters, I encourage you. It's really easy to get caught up in the ways of the world and the traditions of man, trying to fit these models of what a man or woman, mother, father, employee. There's a lot of forces and opinions coming into each of us about what we should be and how we should do and what we should take seriously, what we should be afraid of. The lesson I've learned and that I offer to you, please, take life seriously. Your life. And what would be most important in one's life? The practices that I've been developing for myself, and I encourage you to consider for yourself. Develop a daily practice for meditation, prayer, and exercise. Body, mind, and spirit every single day. Because until you train your mind and your body to be still, man, your spirit will let your ego just fling you all around in this world. Let you pick up habits, stupid addictions and, wasting time and money on things like gambling or, entertainment. There's a time and a place for all things. There's nothing wrong with a little entertainment, of course, but at what cost? When each of us only has the same 24 hours in a day, each of us, we all have the same amount of time. And time is our most valuable, precious commodity. Because once you're out of time, you're gone. And once your family is out of time, they're gone. So when is your time for you? When is your time for your family? We sure make time for the bosses, for the banks, for the obligations that society has brought to us. And yeah, many of our debts and all of this stuff, it is self-imposed. We got to own that. But I do believe, brothers and sisters, when we come together in the opportunity of now with the intention of a better future, when we join together as brothers and sisters, as children of the one Most High, when we come together to unite, we can face the lies, we can expose the corruption, we can literally rewrite the rules of this world should God allow us. I've been praying quite a bit, and I know others are praying for a better world and envisioning this better future for us all. Meditating, praying, sending their energies on peace, on enlightenment, on awakening, on the revealing. I'm trying to do that in this physical world, right? To bring the prayers into body, bring the prayers into action, to bring forth our prayers together. And when we as people unite, we'll find out what is true for us all. Because none of us really know what we can accomplish till after we've set our intentions and placed our power and our will behind it. But this egoic mind, man, the brainwashing is powerful. And it's been going on for generations, right? And there's science that shows some of the fears and patterns developed in one lifetime will be genetically passed down. But if we today, brothers and sisters, the knowledge is available. There are many doctors and experts out here sharing the stuff that I'm trying to. They share the details of the concepts and conclusions that I'm offering to you. There's other people right now that have the answers and the solutions and the understandings of ancient truths in modern day presentations. It's a magical time for us to be alive, brothers and sisters. And so I've heard. What if this is true? Okay, this is a this is a belief I accept, but I got no way of proving. But what if during the process and evolution of creation, there are particular points in time where it's like a pinnacle of evolution and growth. So there's about to be a dominant change in one form or another. Okay. This is making sense in my mind in the pictures I'm imagining, but it's just the growth of nature and the way that agriculture, plants would come together. So throughout the process of time, there's pinnacles and growth in different varying levels. And what if at the time of Mother Earth, at its growth and point within the universe and the cosmos, what if at this point in history, at this time, this planet was supposed to be going through some sort of shift, an energetic change, which it sounds like there is evidence for. As I understand, the magnetic poles are shifting, the solar energies and magnetic fields are changing here on Earth. And so what if we are the generation that is here to heal itself? What if that's true? Right? Because as I understand the stories, there was a man a couple thousand years ago who devoted his life to oneness with God, to reveal to the world what the Creator intended for us. And as it's told, he was a healer. He walked with perfection, bringing perfection with him, so to say. And so if that is our purpose and we live now with the faith and the devotion and the praise of creation, the purpose of loving life and loving one another, holy cows, man. This world would change so quickly. Because love is the force that unites. Love is the force that binds. Love is what makes life worth living. Let's face it. I mean, seriously, but to know love, you've got to become love. Because as you become love, you stop pushing others away. And when you become more filled with love, you can feel loved all alone. And when you feel loved all alone, man, when you find someone you resonate with and who understands you, that's where the love is shared. Welcome, kid.
How you doing, Jack?
I'm feeling blessed today, brother. Feeling blessed.
That's good. Good to
How
hear,
are
brother.
you?
Good. I'm good. Just working here. Figured I'd come on and talk for a minute.
Respect. I appreciate the company and the fellowship. Um,
Yeah, I seen you're all alone on here, and the links there. Might as well start the party. Right?
you know, I'm when I started the stream today, especially after the way the past has developed. I was curious today what might happen, but I came on just to flow with whatever.
Yeah, I haven't been watching. I don't really watch the streams. I participate. So I have no idea what the hell's going on unless I'm actually here.
Hmm.
So hopefully everything's going well.
Well, there's been drama between the continuing drama has continued, and while I've asked for the patterns to change or stop, the other party refused. So yesterday I was pretty clear that I'd like to move on without him in my participating in my life. Speaking of Paul, of course.
Oh, okay. Christo, Special K, Flow State, Jessica Jane. You tell me. Much love to everybody.
Amen. Amen. Hey, Cage, I think you can resonate this. I made this note earlier. The distinction between know thyself is the egoic think they know. Have you noticed that pattern?
Hmm. Well, only a fool thinks he knows.
Amen. Woo. Actually, I wouldn't fault someone for thinking they know, but a fool reveals they think they know.
Or actually, a fool knows that they know, but really you know. Actually, no, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like
Yeah.
it's like what is this reality really, right?
I've been trying to figure out how to describe the concepts that make me feel like I understand. It's like a mist. The ether is a non-formed force that, through intelligence and intent, brings order to form, or brings form to order. I don't know, but it's like a mist. Yogananda described it as a cosmic light show in which the creator is the consciousness of all characters, and the creator has absolute, complete, perfect control of all that is and all that's revealed, but we're actually non-existent. We're just an experience that happens together.
I think reality, I think people are kind of like the consciousness of human beings, like through the electromagnetic field and all that. It's very similar to mycelium, like how mushrooms grow.
Mm. Yes, brother. I got to give that some thought. But yes, the truth is revealed to us in form through the forces of creation. And the intelligence of the mycelium may be like a visible observation of like the hive mind that birds and other species carry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've started learning about mycelium and mushrooms just with the last few years ago too. This is what I mean, man. I discovered information about things I thought I knew about. Yeah, I knew the existence of mushrooms and they had these different properties, but holy crap, I didn't know how much Dude, this world is amazing we live in. um,
It is, right? And if you don't go on social media and watch the news and that, it's actually not that bad. But like they try brainwashing people. It's always like negative, like negative programming,
yes.
fear based programming.
Yes, but the brainwashing gets into each of us at different times and different levels, and then that brainwashing, that fear base comes out in our society. It's brilliant the way it's been designed. Hey, Flo, yes, I have, and the very first time I tried mushrooms was actually a spiritual experience that I did not recognize. I didn't appreciate it, but sitting in the woods with a few of my buddies, and I must have sat in the same chair for about 8 hours. And I had no desire to get up, no desire to move, no desire to do anything whatsoever. And the motto I picked up that day was, it'll pass.
This too shall pass. Yeah.
You know?
What, you had an uncomfortable situation there?
Well, I didn't even want to get up to go to the bathroom, and I had a cooler full of beer right next to me. So, but I sat there for hours, and it'll pass. Buddies get the idea to go wander the river, connect to nature. I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea. It'll pass.
You're tripping out. You're just chilling.
Hey, brother, that was it. I didn't realize that is the absolute truth. It'll pass. It is a way of life that, the highs and the lows, they come and go.
That'd be hilarious. Jack on mushrooms. Give Jack like fucking 7 grams of mushrooms and shit. They'd be fucking... This guy have all the answers to the universe after.
The last time I tried them, I ended up hugging the floor though, because everything was in motion for me. So, but what I've realized from some of these hallucinogenic experiences, and I haven't had a lot of them, but what I've learned from those hallucinogenic experiences is just that. The egoic mind creates these limits on structures of how we think. But one of those experiences, you can't deny what happens, the way you feel and what you perceive. So once you have an experience that's just beyond the physical 3D form, it starts to open your mind a little more, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Hey, welcome, Dominic.
Jack. Hey, buddy. Cage. How you doing?
Hey, Dom. How you doing, bro?
Oh, pretty good.
Nice to have you.
Yes. Hey, so the topic though too with the know thyself, and this note was actually thinking of my fellow broadcaster, the egoic think they know. This life of ours is a lifelong experience for the purpose of learning of ourself. I had an interesting conversation with someone last night who is they identify as an energetic healer. And so I explored the conversation, and I trust that we do. There's enough evidence and there's enough authors and studies. I trust we do reincarnate. We return as different beings at different times and different ways. And if that's true, then we're bringing memories with us. Memories are patterns of energy. They're energetic thoughts, is what they are. Thoughts are energy. thinking this through. Sorry.
Emotion or energy and motion. Thoughts are a force, technically, because it's electromagnetic force. If you want to get technical with it, doesn't same idea though, really. You know,
Energy, force, yes. They're, I can, I don't know. I can kind of see the distinctions. It's one. There is no separation, really. And this is
they
the
mix
thing.
together, right? Yeah.
Yes. Everything mixes together. We are the, in our beingness of form right now, we are the result of the entire history and cosmos of everything. It's all been patterned and layers of time, layers of energy, layers of matter, and layers of memories. And it brings us to today and where we are. And in this lifetime, I've been allowed to learn of a lot of different things, including the past and current corruptions of the United States government and the entire economic system. And the way I see it is, if the Creator has, by purpose, allowed this experience to happen, and I've heard and trust that maybe we volunteered to be here on Earth at this time. And by God's grace, we were chosen. We were allowed to come and to grow with our parents or within the community and others who helped protect us until we started to go out and fend for ourselves. So if the Creator created this and allowed us all to be, and I was allowed to live the life that I did so far, and I truly believe that with faith, all things are possible, I want to experience this world without wars. In this lifetime, I don't think that has happened. I'm confident it's not happened. So, is it rebirth or reincarnation? Reincarnation, also known as rebirth, transmigration, or in ancient Greek inspired texts, metempsychosis, is a philosophical or religious concept that the non-physical essence of a living being begins a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. Many explanations for these concepts of rebirth, reincarnation, karma, dharma, the Maya, whatever. We are little g gods responsible for our own future, responsible for choosing what we want to learn, choosing what we want to accomplish, choosing what we want to leave behind. The society, like we were touching on earlier with the news and the media, it wants you to live in fear. Because when we're in fear, well, then we be divided. Fear creates distrust. It creates separation. It creates there's scripture in the Bible. Our God wants us to love. I truly trust our God seeks us to want to know ourselves truly, honestly, so that we can present ourselves truly, honestly, authentically, openly with the world. And when we share ourselves fully and openly, truthfully, encouragingly with the world, well, the world becomes a better place.
If you want change, right, you first have to start changing yourself, and then you'll start seeing different things change around you.
Correct. This is what actually, thank you. That reminds me of a thought I had earlier. People have been conditioned to resist change. That's why everyone's still fighting over this Democrat Republican bullshit. Because that's what my daddy was. You know, whatever. Change. I have learned to celebrate change. Matter of fact, I seek daily for change. I yearn for change. I have been praying for change in my life. I honestly don't know what more I can do. And that's why I've been asking people to try and help me figure it out. But change is the only true constant. And the other true constant is God. So love God, love change, love all things. And yet become attached to the no thing.
Can I interject for a second here, Jack?
Please.
We say words like change the self or know thyself. Who's the one that's speaking?
Whatever is true.
Okay. So now, the self, the way I see it is, it's kind of like the child. So when people say the word know thyself, who's the knower and who's the self? Now, when somebody says, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
It's like when some people say I'm the body or I'm not the body. Who's the one that's speaking? To me, anyway, I'm going to share for me, the self, the ego, the program. So when you change the program, like anything else, you should at least understand the program. But the knower now, that's a different program. That's the one when we go to sleep. That's the one when we hear each other, that the blood and water are still functioning as we're still consciously awake. The ego's what we call speaking languages. How to move the body to a certain point. It's the one that says, okay, Jack, Dominic, intuitively, yeah, there's something going on in your life. Whatever you think life is, it's usually from within, hence where life is. So then there's other things that go to it. It's called prana, chi, where its source could be. I don't want to think source is so enabled that it created all these beautiful things, but yet forgot to create the bridges and the highways and all that kind of stuff. But even those things, they're created differently than what nature looks like. One's angles, the other one's more circular. So whatever source is, we can use many names to describe it, God, Allah, whatever word, aliens, reptilians. But I would like to put value on the fact that whatever's there is constantly been there, but it doesn't need to be seen. And in my interpretation of love, it's unconditional. It does not interfere. Whether somebody's harming somebody or somebody's loving somebody, what people call love more times than not is obligation and duty. Same with the energy called truth. But I get it. We can say words just for the sake of saying words, but you have to embody it. And once you embody it, then you'll experience it. And that might take a lot of talking, a lot of meditation, a lot of practice. There's a reason why we have many words with the word act in it. But again, I'm just using the English language to describe these things. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Gage.
Hey, very well said. And forgive me, there was something I did want to come back to, and I forgot what it was. The self. The thought I had, you're right. Know thyself. Who is the one asking? Who is the one answering? Who is the self that is? And the explanation I've come to recognize is there's one self, one true self, and that's, again, you can call that God, Allah, whatever you want to call it, universe, source. There is one self that moves us all. And then the self within me, I make the choices to move me. Now I do. In the past, my thoughts used to make the choice to move me, or my emotions did, or my desires, or someone else would tell me something and words would make me move. So you're right, Dominic. Beyond the language is the truth.
Another analogy I could probably give, Jack. We do it now. We have technology. We mimic technology. So the car has a positive and negative ideal. So that's just explaining how suns and the moon and all these polarities work. We have a technology called, whether it's the iPhone, any kind of phone, laptop, or computer. You have the vessel, which is the computer. That'll be what we would call our body. And then you have the ongoing program, the apps. That would be called the self. Then you have the hard drive that's running those things. That would be called the knower. That's the higher self. But then you have electricity and Wi-Fi going to it. We don't see the electromagnetic force, let alone do we. Well, some people could see air, for example. But we try to capture it in certain different technologies. So somebody will say, well, eventually capture a vision of an aura. But that'll shift all the time, whether it comes in the form of color, comes in the form of whatever. So to me, the self, Jack, is, again, it's just a child. And the person knows where they're at when they start saying words self-love opposed to loving the self, or aware of the self opposed to self-aware. That's why we have know thyself, not self-knowing. That's the ego talking when it's usually the first word. Because it's like any household.
Well, let's get to
go ahead.
Let's get to the purpose of knowing.
Yeah.
The benefit, why. I mean, there's lots of ways to describe the what and the.
Can I share something here, Jack?
Please.
Like, yeah, in an alchemical sense, like know thyself, it takes on a profound and multifaceted meaning and encapsulates the alchemist's journey of self-exploration, inner transformation, and spiritual evolution. The knower represents the alchemists themselves, the seeker who embarks on a quest to delve into the depths of their own psyche, emotions, and thoughts. This introspective journey is akin to the process of distillation in alchemical symbolism, where one separates and purifies the essential aspects of oneself from the impurities that cloud their true nature. And the self in alchemy refers to the essence of an individual, their authentic and pure nature. This core essence is often metaphorically referred to as a philosopher's stone, an alchemical substance believed to possess immense transformative powers. Just as the alchemists seek to transmute base metals into gold through the philosopher's stone, they aim to transmute their inner being from its mundane state to a spiritually elevated and enlightened one. Throughout this process, alchemists engage in various symbolic operations, mirroring the physical process of transmutation in the inner world. These operations might include calcination, burning away impurities, dissolution, breaking down barriers, separation, discerning different aspects of the self, and conjunction, integrating the harmonizing of these aspects together. The ultimate goal is the union of the conscious and unconscious, leading to a higher state of awareness and spiritual enlightenment. Additionally, know thyself is not limited to the individual alone. It also pertains to the broader cosmos. Alchemists believe in the principle of correspondence, the idea that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm. By understanding themselves, we seek to uncover the hidden truths of the universe and achieve a greater alignment with the divine order. So it encapsulates a journey of self-discovery, inner purification, and spiritual growth. The knower represents the seeker, and the self represents the authentic essence within, both of which intertwine within the alchemist's quest to unlock the hidden wisdom and achieve a deeper connection with the universe. So that's like the alchemical definition of know thyself.
That's beautifully said. I was paying attention, and I really appreciate it. The idea of know thyself is to bring the awareness of beingness into the consciousness, to observe and understand what has been hidden within the knowing, within the knower, what's been in the subconscious level. And the best way to know what is within is to watch, to observe, to pay attention to self, especially the words that are coming out. we're speaking, those are most often the words we need to pay. Well, they are the words we need to pay the most attention to because we want to be truthful and accurate with each other, right? You would think.
Of course.
This. Go ahead, Cage. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, well, the best part of know thyself is when you, how do you love something you don't truly know? Number one, right? How do you care for something you don't truly know? You don't truly understand. But this world teaches us to seek outside for validation from mommy and daddy, the teacher, the bosses, the girlfriend, whatever. The society teaches us to seek validation and completion outside of ourselves. But you'll never know where you are in the world if you don't know who you are and where you are within yourself, within your own life path. Where are you at? So when we know who we are, then it's easier to follow our path and our purpose with honesty. Here's a welcome, Axis.
Hello.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing fairly well. I see I'm amongst wonderful company here. Dominique, Kay, Jack.
Some very beautiful people here. Yes, welcome. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Welcome, Axis. How you doing, man?
Much better, Cage. Thank you. And Dom, thank you for the information. The links, very inspiring.
Glad to hear you're doing well, by the way, Alexis.
Thank you. I just wanted to interlude with, this is my personal concept. It's a mathematical take on what I consider to be the constant and the persistent. There is the grand equation, the all-encompassing equation. And within that equation, there are all equations contained within the divine equation. And when you have yourself working in a state where you're using numbers and mathematics, which is the language of creation, you can kind of develop the formula of the nature of that mathematics, such as divine proportion. So when I look at the grand scale of all, I see it as one all-encompassing equation, which is the constant. And then all the equations that it contains, which would be each life form, each human, each animal, tree, whatever, is the persistent, which is bouncing off of the constant, creating energy, which is mathematical equations in motion. It's just my take, my perspective and observation.
Thank you. There are many explanations and observations of the universe and that which is. And we can using our own logic and discernment, we can take from many of these theories and develop what is best for ourselves. But in the end, what it comes down to, and I get that one overall equation with many others contained within. I've also looked at equations as systems in that analogy. There's one system, one process, and all of these variables contained within, and we are variables containing countless variables. But
That's what I call the persistent. Yeah, you're absolutely on it. Yeah.
beautiful. What I find as the significance, though, is that number one, we are all part of this same timeline of now. So those of us breathing air and pumping blood together, we are now. And there is no separation from the overall, right, Axis?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're all, our own equation within the divine equation, the all-encompassing equation.
Amen.
And our formula is variables, like you said, and your outcome is going to be how you measure the equation and do the math to achieve that outcome. And it's observable. I mean, the handwriting of the great architect is written in divine proportions, mathematics.
Amen. And the divine force of mathematics reveals us. And
Yes.
we reveal what, as I understand, you might say, we reveal the computations from our from the variables within us.
Yeah, just like Dominique said, the design is structured like a computer. And
it is.
And knowing that the equations and the constant state of, thermodynamics, you can calculate, and you become the process of the program.
Okay, so how about this then? I've presented the argument that all divisions between us are illusions, that they are imagined separations between us, and therefore all conflicts are result of delusions. How would you feel on that?
I would say it would be like when you were in school and you got a paper that had 50 math problems on it, each of them different, but they were all contained on that piece of paper. And each of those had different answers, and they were individual mathematical problems. So yeah, they all are the same in nature, just different answers to the variables.
Okay, but my question there in that analogy, all of those math problems starting disagreements with each other?
That would be an incorrect equation. That would be like saying 1 and 1 is 53. That is an improper equation. It goes outside of the bounds of golden geometry.
Okay, so I guess where I'm trying to go, Axis, and welcome, Jesse.
Jesse.
Where I'm trying to go is, my goal is always in the back of my mind the same kind of focus. I would like to see a future here on Earth with the unification of mankind, where we overcome the divisions that the governments and the banking systems have, kind of reinforced. So
I have something to propose to you then, Jack. Why don't you get a team of individuals that may be different variables and equations, and have them focus on the equation of what you're wanting to happen, which is exposure, freedom, the whole 9 yards. And you figure out the variables within that equation to determine the answer, but you use a team of people who are within the same mathematical realm that you are.
Well, I respect that, and that's actually, I mean, I failed to find a team here in my physical community, and so I've come online to try and build a community and a team. But so far, people have seen themselves as different than me, or have
They're not
found
different than you.
disagreements with my purpose. So you're
No,
welcome. Hey,
you're,
Axis. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, man.
you're, you're, you're not different. You're a seeker. And like Cage is a seeker. Dominique's a seeker. I don't know if this gentleman is, but
Yes.
we all seek to find relevancy to our own equation within the divine equation. And I've had fortune with working with groups. I've had much fortune with that. It's worked out wonderfully. And my personal endeavors have, manifested into a way that I never dreamed of. So I've seen the evidence of the equation and the variables at work, and even in a group setting. So that's the best I can render to you, Jack, because you're not different. You're a seeker, and all of us who seek, eventually we find.
Can I share something, Ax? Because it might assist, I guess.
Oh,
I guess, Jack,
absolutely.
Yeah. When I hear things, we have to realize for ourselves the words we speak. So the world itself, as I'm hearing Jack says, that needs help. No, the world doesn't need help. The individual parts might need help because we're asking for the source, whatever we want to call it, in its image. Think about imagination. We're in its image. If we want the world to come to oneness, we have to include all the other species in it, but we're not. So what is one of the troublesome spots? It's the human race. That's the troublesome spot. So if we address just the human part, let the world deal with itself. And sometimes it's too much of a challenge because whatever's playing on the unknown will say, unless the words are spoken in a direct line, it's kind of like talking to a djinn or a genie. Be careful for what you're asking for because it might be beyond your scope of comprehension. But if you make it small little baby steps, maybe deduce the things that you don't want, and then maybe we can break that down because most people are going to protect what they do want or what they're attached to. Love it. Captain Ian, that's nice. I'm going to pause mute myself.
Yeah,
Thank you,
sorry.
Tom.
I didn't mean to distract from that. Axis, go ahead. I didn't mean to.
I was just appreciating, Dominique's look at that, and yeah, I feel that is a correct observation.
I see. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to distract by bringing up the scenery, but Captain Ian's offering us a beautiful view there, man. Out on the water with the sun setting. We live on an amazing, beautiful planet. And we have the capacity right now, brothers and sisters, we have the capacity right now to help resolve most of the problems that people are experiencing. Because most of the problems people experience are either self-created or created by other people. And
So what would they be, Jack? As some examples: poverty, neglect, greed, inconsistency, unawareness, and then that's how it gets addressed because we're just a small amount of people. Like I've always said to myself, when I'm by myself, I'm important. When I'm actually around other people, I'm insignificant. I should fall back.
But when the people come together, there is so much power. But the challenge is getting the attention span of people because people have been conditioned to outsmart each other and to overthink each other and to try and overpower each other. And so, and I'm sorry, Dominic, I guess I did that with you.
I took it for what it is. I'm at peace with myself, and when I'm in disturbance, the learning lessons for me. But there is groups of people in this realm that people are spending way too much time pointing fingers. They are working together. Now, it might be for a selfish endeavor, but they're showing how they work together. And until people stop thinking that somebody else should be responsible for them, and if they're going to be back into like a community or a tribe mentality, you know, you name them, Illuminati, elites, whatever, but try to understand them, but not from the eye of judgment, but from discernment. Oh, how would that serve if I had to run a whole corporation throughout the world? How would it be to control or run all the airplanes in the world, let alone the trains? You know, if people start looking in those kind of terms, then they can participate in the whole, opposed to complaining about the whole.
Well, I feel that's in some aspects what I've done for myself is, I've really spent a lot of time trying to understand the motivation of some of our legislators. I don't know any of them personally, but I've been studying humanity. I've been studying purposefully psychology, sociology, spirituality, and politics and economics. And I know for a fact that the way America is operating, whether you want to look at it as a nation, as a republic, or as a corporation, it is running with very, very poor efficiency. Okay. And so, yeah, everyone wants to point at my results or the path I've lived and claim I don't know what I'm talking about, but I sure as hell do understand leadership, and I understand processes, and I understand efficiency, and I actually do understand the corruption of our economic system. And I know that when people start waking up to the truth, who they are, a divinely created, just amazing, mystical being. We are all carrying so much potential within us. When we push beyond our doubts, when we push beyond our excuses and our blame about the way things were or the way people told us things are going to be, when we push past those limits, we are limitless. We are unlimited in our opportunities that exist right now.
Okay, Jack. So on that point, I hear, and this is where a person has to learn to surrender themselves. I learned all these things. When you're in the public eye, you fall back. When you're in the private eye, then you go forward. So now when somebody learns about things like about psychology, they understand international trade, that's nice. But when you hear other people, they haven't learned that, then you fall back. Now, if they ask questions, you might, hopefully in a more of a private setting opposed to public, because you scorn anybody or you educate somebody publicly, they're either their emotions are going to say, yeah, I'm really happy, or I'm really sad, or you're scorning me. This is where a person understands the self-surrender part, when it's no longer about them when they've learned those things. Now you're participating as the whole. The whole will eventually catch up. A lot of people don't want to see beacons. They just don't.
When people see others rising, sometimes the insecurity rises, because this world of conditioning, in order to have fear, you've got to be constantly comparing, constantly imagining and remembering. So as I've experienced this myself, and brothers and sisters, please, I do, for those who are finding value, as you go within you and you start reevaluating who you are, what's important to you, you may find that your patterns and your choices change. And as that happens, people may change. Relationships may be seen from different eyes, positions, jobs, habits. All of these things are open for reevaluation. And brothers and sisters, I truly trust we are We are the ones who others have been praying for. We are the ones our ancestors have wanted to see. They're beyond the veil. They're cheering us on. They're waiting for us perhaps to heal from some of their mistakes, and the ancestors, I don't know. Joe, welcome, brother.
How
Welcome
are
to
you?
the dream.
The dream, is that what you said?
The dream is happening, and we are awake to the dream.
Ah, that dream. Yeah. Thank you. I only caught about, I don't know, 2 minutes of you guys. I just got here. You guys were doing good. That one cat, I don't know who it is because all the icons are off. But the one cat, and then you followed him up. You were doing good. I was like, this is the right time. I immediately hopped on. You got whatever you guys are talking about, man. You're on it.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Actually,
Whatever that one of these guys said something really.
we've had some wonderful participation from everyone. Dominic, Axis, Cage, Jesse just kind of got here. He hasn't had a chance yet, but
If one of them is Cage, that was probably him. He say some heavy shit a lot.
Yeah, what's
Actually, I
up,
think-
Joe? Hey, Jesse. Hey, guys, sorry, I'm just gonna call. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. You guys are still here.
okay. Thank you, brother. Peace.
Well, what you were saying, Jack, is yeah, we are all divinely created, and it's only you can separate yourself from yourself, right? So that's the whole all is one mentality, right? We are all here. We all should be respected. Some people just don't know who and what they are. And, some people are maybe hard on people more than others, but, it should be about inspiring and lifting them up instead of tearing them down. And I think that's where people get it twisted, right? They think that they need to tear people down to bring them back up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In a lot of cases, it does the exact opposite. It gets
Right.
people angry. It gets people twisted. It gets people
Agreed.
in a direction that they don't want to be.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
It's the way our society has been built, unfortunately. It's built with oppression and conflict in its design, and people have become products of society. I used to be like that. Go ahead.
If I may interlude,
Yeah, go ahead.
if you take the number one and you have number one as a whole,
Yeah.
that is the basic relative nature of one. But if you start fractaling that
Yeah.
one, which was very basic and simple, in fractions becomes infinite because
Agreed.
you can infinitely fractal a one.
I agree.
And that's with self. You can either be whole or you can be fractaled in your nature.
See, I was going the other way as you were saying that. I was thinking we are naturally fractal, as in that as above, so below shit. It keeps getting smaller. The bigger you get, the smaller it gets. It's all the same shit. So I thought we were in this fractals.
That's the nature of the constant. It's fractals. I mean, everything is relevant with fractals. You learn that through golden geometry, divine proportion, school of Pythagoras, art, angles, dimensions, mathematics. It all has fractal nature to it, even the conch shell.
Here, let me jump back in with that fractal within. I kind of appreciate what you were saying and what Jesse said. The only one that can push us away from our true self is ourself.
Yourself, yeah.
And we become fractured within ourselves when we start believing in partial truths. We start clinging to these experiences and painful memories of trauma.
Yeah.
We start fracturing ourselves, and this is where I think somewhat of the Jungian archetype theories come in. By nature, we have different archetypes already within us.
I would
the
agree.
personality and the drive for various things.
Different amounts and shit. You see it in other people in different amounts. Yeah.
So if I
What
can share, Jack, sorry, go ahead.
to tie this together just real quick, as I understand, when we go through trauma and traumatic events, painful events, we will often push our true self away, and we'll assume one of these characters, and then in similar one of these archetypes within us as a defensive mechanism, and then we carry that pattern as we grow.
Yeah.
Dominic?
Yeah, guys, it's since we live in a polarity, or what people perceive as a polarity, you have to play the game of sweet and sour, positive and negative, up and down, wisdom and understanding. So for somebody to accept something on a pleasantry part, this is where the concept of suffering comes in. Most people aren't resisting their pain. They're attached to their pleasures and comforts. So they've already done the judgment part. So now what they say is, I don't like the fact that somebody's arguing with me. I said, okay, so how, is it revealing something about you? It's going to bring something out you. Now, you might ask questions like a philosophy, why did you do that to me? And then a person can say, yeah, but I don't like to argue. I said, so when did you get attached to something? This is when a person actually understands about surrendering of the self. And even that, attachment, there's so many mints. So like I said, this is how a person gets true to themselves or goes through the fire. Sure, it's easy when somebody gives you nothing but pleasantries. And there's a lot of people that have actually tried to promote that pleasantry stuff, but that can also imbalance you. So
They're
once you
both
become
just tools, right? Surely there's a time for everything, right? You can't get just to start to thinking every time is a time for pleasantries or every time is a time for tough love or whatever. It's a time for everything. And the fractal thing, I wanted to say what I think about that fractal shit. I think we are all one. Therefore, the fractals count because in some sense, you're a fractal of me, you're a fractal of me, you're a fractal. If we are all one, I have to be concerned about all these infinite fractals, which are you, you, and you, and you.
No one is more important than the other. And that's the whole thing, is that we all have an equal part in what this is. We don't know what this is, but everybody has an equal and significant part. And once people, start to comprehend that, then they can start having more respect for one another instead of constantly at competition with one another.
Yeah, I was going to say, if someone wants to opt out, that should be okay too. Whatever this is, as you characterize it, if someone doesn't want to participate in it, they should be able to opt out of it. You say we all should have an equal part, only if you want to participate. If that fucking makes sense. Jackson looking like he don't understand what I'm saying.
We are all part of this creation, this time of history. We are all a part. And here, what I found helps for me to help me connect to you, to others, is become one with time, right? I'm one with now, one with this moment, which means my moment is you. You are the fractals of my experience right now.
Certainly
just like
right now. And as me and you talked about, now is all that matters. It is the only moment. So yes, I am definitely a part of you. If your logic is correct, we are definitely a part of each other.
And quantum entanglement binds us together. Now, what role you want to play in that, as long as you're not making the whole, suffer because of what you're doing. You don't have to actively play a role in it, but as long as you're keeping yourself at balance and
you're not going against nature
from the whole going against the natural rhythm of things, trying to cause destruction, then you don't have to be a part. Do you keep yourself vibrating? You're still part of the whole, but you're not detracting from the whole. And
that's the only way it works, I
because
think.
We're only as strong as the weakest link. And that's the whole thing, is we want to make sure all of the links, rise up and feel good and become in balance with each other. And a big part of that is the mass poisoning that's going on, which we have to stop, because no matter how positive and how good you feel, there's still so much poison in our food, air, and water, our
All right.
frequencies. There's so much going on that
Yeah.
until we start to figure out how we can lessen that and become at balance at one, it's so hard for us to get to that place where we all want to get to, because that stuff is bringing us down.
Well, listen, this would be the direct route to that. Those things you said, air, water, and so, you to get direct evidence. You put together a little proof packet. It's in today's day and age that would look like some type of short vid that just shows a lot of evidence, and then because the first thing you got to do is get everybody on your side. So this is how you do that. You're going to do it in a quick video package, the shit that they're used to seeing. You're going to give evidence for the intelligent people who might think that you're just some type of conspiracy theorist. Those are the beginnings that popped in my head.
So if
There
I can
was
share,
this-
guys, sorry, would you mind?
If I may,
Jesse?
we,
Go ahead, Lex.
I'm
Go ahead,
sorry.
Lex. No, go ahead.
If I may, we all carry a common genetic thread that is evident in every human. And it's a common, very common genetic thread. And it's identifiable. And I'm known on many platforms as being a very dark individual when I need to be.
Okay.
I transcend the spectrum between absolute dark to illuminate.
Are you bragging
And-
on how shitty you can be? Is that what you're doing right now?
No, I'm showing that I hold a balance by being able to accept that darkness in me, the primal human. But yet, I am intelligent enough to recognize that that's just one part of the spectrum, because I can also illuminate and bring light to things, positive. It just depends on where I'm at within that range and that spectrum when I'm dealing with certain equations.
I would absolutely. I'm sorry. I'm the guy who pushes back on way too much shit. But I would disagree with that. If the darkness is what you're talking about, that he's a tool, but he is rarely to be fucking used. My day-to-day, everything I do, I'm thinking of goodness. Whatever you want to call it. What?
It's you. Me.
Yeah.
I hold my own darkness. I don't need it from anybody else. I have all humans do.
Yeah, I meant my darkness. I have to keep him at bay and use him sparingly. Right? He comes out very seldom.
Right? That's your nature. That's your equation. That is you.
Well, Axes, I agree, and actually that is part of our development, is recognizing there is an evil son of a bitch that's within us.
Yeah.
Each of us has this capacity and potential to deny. Yes.
Yeah, power to harm or to heal. We all have that inside of us.
There you go. That's the simplest way. And we
Yeah,
get to decide
wait, I'm sorry. But do we use it? Do we use it 50-50 though? We have the power to harm and to heal, right? No one is sitting up here saying they're equal.
No.
All right.
You're right. But some people won't recognize. They'll say, "Oh, I don't have this," and that's where this judgment comes in. They project saying, "I'm so much better than this person because I don't have this evil within me." Well, guess what?
Agreed.
You start judging another version of you, you are going to discover how evil you are.
Yeah, I think you're right. I hope right. Yeah, the judgment is out of my pay range.
I agree. Using the beast within us, it is a tool, man. And the beast of a man, especially a man, it is a powerful tool. The beast of a woman is that can be a very destructive tool.
Maybe worse than man. Shit.
I got a question for Axis. So you said that you have enough darkness in you that you don't need darkness from others. So why do you think that people need that darkness from you?
Oh, I don't deliver darkness. I allow people through myself to recognize that they have that primal, instinctive, internal hatred and rage.
It sounds like
That
you're bragging about being a shitty guy. I'm interpreted that as
no,
I let people discover themselves by pulling out the worst of them, pulling them off their square, and then they can see that they're evil just like I got evil in me. It sounds like that's what you're saying. I like to go around bringing out the evil in niggas. I show them.
And that's dark. That's breaking people down opposed to trying to lift them up, showing them the goodness inside, and especially in a world that's been dark for so long. It's
I
easy to
think
bring
that's
people
a
into the
highly
darkness.
limited. I think that's a highly limited perspective on what I'm doing.
Continue.
We don't know. We just know
That
from
could be.
just the words that you've shared with us, right? We don't
Right.
know you and how you
Yeah.
just your limited words is all
Yeah.
we can go on.
Oh
from
yeah, all I
what
was
you
trying to
said.
do is encapsulate what you were saying. I wasn't trying to add or take away. I was just trying to let you know how I was interpreting it, so we're on the same page.
Well,
You ever
let me share
went to a
different
scary
words.
movie?
I hate
Can I just
scary
use-
movies, but I've seen a bunch of
Can I
them.
use different words, Access? Because I'm hearing you, whether it's your unconscious and your subconscious. Your
They
subconscious and
they're
your
not
unconscious.
they're not catching what I'm saying, Dominique, and I think I'm
Okay, then I'll break
in
it down in
a
a different
social
way.
range that
I'll
I'm not going to be well adjusted to.
No problem. Well, I'll continue from here. So a lot of people bring in their likes and dislikes. In the old language, good and evil, spiritual, material. Evil world, you're living in a material world. But what most people use the connotation evil is wrong. No, it has
Okay.
nothing to do with that. You live in a material world and you describe it with the unknown called the spirit. I don't see air, I only see its effects. So now what happens with a lot of people, what they end up doing is we're engaging with each other through this technology. But what did electricity, Wi-Fi, and radio frequency do to the air? We're air beings, some of us. Now, the human part has always been united with this realm, but there's been a splice being going on. That's why we're called human beings. Now, they put us in different shades, but that's just the form. That's not who we are. But for some people, they want to believe that's who they are. And that's fine. They go back into their ancestors and they see where the manipulation started. But where did you get the thousands of different languages that we're using today? And when people actually, Joe, I'll give you as an example. When you go to sleep, who runs your body? When you're hearing me, who runs the liquids in your body right now? That's not the ego. So now when Axis is talking about what's this called the darkness, we're talking about the unknown, how it manifests in the known. This is the yin and yang. This is the negative and positive. The negative part is the feminine energy, and most people don't want to entertain it. This is why when Jungian was talking about the shadow self, the shadow comes from the light. It doesn't come from the dark. Now, when I say dark, I'm talking about there could be other planes here. The 7 continents here, absence of water, called Earth. It's just a scratching of the surface. And most people will use their intellect, their hemispheres to grasp this, which is a great start. And I'll tell you with all sincerity, there's guys that are 80 years old. They're just scratching the surface. Now, I get it when I hear Joe talking about being the adversary. That adversary should turn in. Oneself.
Your computers,
Respect,
your
out.
mic was bugging out a little bit. It's straight now.
Okay, good enough. So now, when a person is actually revolting from within, you'll find out who you truly are or aren't. Respect is when you actually hear another human being and not judging them. When people say, I agree or disagree, that's the ego talking. I agree. I don't give a shit if you agree or disagree. I'm just sharing out loud. As long as I grasp it, that's the most important part. And this is how humans have actually done this conflict and even the state of silence.
All right. You gave us a lot to think about there. Let me say, I agree with most of what you said. I have no idea how it relates to what dude was saying.
Bingo. So then go inwards. Listen. We're hearing each other, Joe. Listening is always done within. So when you realize that, again, you're dictating the conversation. So do you really know how to get into a state of silence?
I'm not talking, you are.
No. Silence means that you're not already corking your tail to say, I agree or disagree. Silence means you're going to be receptive to whatever comes to you, not because you need to emulate that. Ponder it. I'm just saying ponder it. I'm nobody in the equation.
I'm not sure I understood you there. I think you're going through the complicated way of saying things. If you're telling me that you learn when you're silent, I figured that shit out when I was a kid.
Well done. A fellow being. Well done. But there's a lot of us, or a lot of people around, we have to be the example. Now, whether it's through struggles where people argue with each other, then people need to see it, fight fairly. But then again, this is also a public platform opposed to a private platform. So publicly, some kids might not want to see mom and dad fight the way they do. Especially it's at the mall. No, Dad, can you take that at home? Why? Show a little dignity. I get it. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Thank you,
Whoever.
Dom.
No, that's it.
Dominic, when you were talking, did you say that the feminine was negative?
Yes. The feminine energy is the negative energy.
The negative energy. I can you try to explain that? Because I don't resonate with that.
Well, at that point, I've shared. Obviously, it doesn't resonate with you. So if you want to share what your interpretation of it, I'll hear you.
Here, if I can,
Please.
if you look at negative not as a bad thing, negative is just a different balance.
Very good, Jack. Thank you. You shot to the core of that, and I interrupted you, but I understood immediately. Negative, not necessarily being bad. Then, if you're calling feminine negative, it's not really a negative term.
It's just the balance.
Yeah, it's positive, negative. It's just the other side of the coin. Somebody said something about quantum entanglement. I was telling my girl that why I believe that helps with our "we are all one" theory, because it gives you a reason how I could know what you're thinking from the distance away instantaneously. You feel a thing instantaneously as it happens, and the connectivity. That's also a good thing. You take part of the same photon, say, and you separate it. It is one. And no matter what distance you move it, what you do to one, it happens to the other. If we are quantum entangled, that's really good evidence, to support our "we are one" theory. Really good evidence.
Dude, I am loving these. I am loving these conversations. I want to genuinely thank you, folks who've joined today. I was just considering this, the question of feminine being the negative. If you consider it in the electrical charge, it's been a long time, but in electricity, is the negative not the grounding? Is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
You got your neutral, you got your ground, and you got your positive.
All right. Yeah.
There are 3 phases, but there's 2 phases to your 110, which is positive and negative. Your 220 has the neutral. So, but that's a different voltage, a different frequency, a different energy.
Well, it kind of took away. I've spent quite a bit of time hearing other theories and really considering myself what divine feminine, what divine masculine, what those traits might mean through the various levels, particularly in the realm of thought, right?
Just look at the sun and the moon, Jack. The moon is a short count, a measurement of short count time. I live on a 13 months calendar. I live by 28 days a month. I use the moon as my short count calendar daily. I use the sun as my long count, the equinox and the solstice.
What are the advantages of that when you're done? What are the advantages when you're done?
Your circadian rhythms start operating properly with nature.
I was wondering if it was along those lines. Yeah.
Hey guys.
So,
sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
Well, this is something I've considered. When humanity pulls its head out of its ass and stops letting authority and wealth decide what is going on, this 13-month calendar, I honestly think that is more in line with the human creation and our biology. And
I would assume many civilizations have used that exact calendar to the Gregorian system, and we came along with it. Probably a bunch of different people use that.
Dude, our ancestors, I don't know if they were brilliant or gullible,
I
But
think they were bad guys, Jack. Well, they was probably, most of them were just like us. But I
yes,
think what was disseminated to us was disseminated by people who had agendas. So that sucks. That's how I grew up thinking Christopher Columbus discovered America. You know, and weird shit like that, as opposed to some dude came over and killed a bunch of people and took their shit. You know, yeah, they can tell you whatever magic words they want, and it gets disseminated to us like some dude was a hero and some guy sees him as a villain.
well,
Well, here's one interesting one. In your chat, there was a negative reproach to me being up here on panel. Okay? And the negative reproach has turned into, obviously, my sound is not good enough for me to be on this panel. So
actually,
I'm not sure what's wrong with my sound, and I'm not sure what's wrong with them concerned about what blood flows through my veins. But if I'm intruding or interloping, please let me know.
hey, Axis, as the host of the panel, please. You've been a character that I've not had a lot of time interacting with. I've seen you a little bit on these panels, and if I can come back to the previous conversation, from the interpretations of what was offered, I don't think Axis goes around offering darkness a lot.
Oh, well, he's been nothing but incredible
He's-
since he's been up here, right? So this is all
Amen.
I've known of him. Yeah.
And that is the point. Is I want to welcome you, Axis. I think your sound does kind of suck, honestly. But your input and your insights are welcomed and appreciated.
It's not horrible, bro.
No,
Don't
it's
be
not
thinking it's
horrible.
We can understand
No.
what you're saying and shit.
Is that any better?
I think
Jack?
it might be slightly.
If not,
No.
I mean, you know, I can easily exit the panel if it becomes an issue or a problem.
Listen,
No, I
I'm the guy, the
appreciate
biggest critic up here. I'd have been complaining a long time ago. I think if I'm not complaining, you're probably good, man.
Hell yeah, Joe will complain.
I complain about every fucking thing, man. Yeah. My girlfriend said, yeah.
Hey, and actually, I don't know if you have met Jesse. Jesse does regular platforms and interviews as well with the Missing Link. And Axis, the reason I'm offering this introduction, and Jesse, I don't know much about you, but it sounds like you've lived an interesting life, Axis, and quite an adventure, maybe some interesting stories. I know you got interesting insights and perspectives to offer.
Axis, is there a God? Let's just see some. Let's see if we can get some of those interesting insights out of you. Is there a God?
That's what I stated when I originally got on here, was that there is an all-encompassing equation, whether you want to call it the great is, the all,
Okay.
whatever
Is this kid,
you put
is
on
Jesus, it. Is Jesus his kid?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
The first question was only
there,
to take you,
and I would have witnessed it. But according to, you know, Roman Catholicism and Constantine II, the Council of Nicaea, and their deliverance of the accounts of this man in the New Testament, then there's the history. And they say that this man existed.
I'm not asking you what they say. I'm familiar with the Council of Nicaea. I've read the Old Testament and the New Testament. I was asking you for your opinion. Is Jesus Christ the Son of God? What do you think? I think your answer was no.
Well,
my answer is I wasn't there, but his teachings are nothing but positive and shed light on a lot of things, even
that's a better answer.
Nature.
That's a better answer.
I was not there. That's the
no. That answers my question. My question. I assume that you you knew Jesus, but you don't call him Jesus. You call him by a different name. You probably call him some energy just by the way you've been talking or something. I think Jesus is good, love, and all of that shit. And it appears that you believe so too right now. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, and I believe that all humans are capable of the divine nature of that man that is described.
He's probably the part of the one with us, which makes us. You can't lose. You can't lose. And he part of me. He on my squad. Oh, I'm good.
Amen.
Everybody's the son
But
and
that,
daughter of God.
Amen. That's the answer that I wanted to offer. All of
yeah,
us.
like I said, we're all cradled equations within a massive divine equation that encompasses everything.
It is so amazing. When you stop to think about the complexity of our experience, I mean, seriously, take some time, set aside 15 minutes as a path of meditation, and try to figure out all the things where they came from in your house, right? Look at any of the products on your shelves, in your, your appliances. Think about the ores that were mined. Think about the plastics that were developed. Think about all the different materials and all the people and all the knowledge.
If you
that
take
came
time to think
together.
about that, you may end up ending your stream and throw away your phone because those fucking ore that they dug up probably come from some slave kids in a mine in Africa
Correct.
somewhere. And your energy that you use came from somebody who fracked some poor people and they can't even drink the drinking water. You got to take all that into consideration too.
Yep. And then start thinking those rich fucking executives living a life of on the high while there are children in fucking mines slaving away for our material existence. We are a part of the corruption by our willful ignorance.
Of course we are.
Our acquiescence, and I've taken this. It's not a. I no longer consent, and I want those who are in places of position to know that their leadership, their choices, the people in legislative and corporate power need to recognize, as men and women, their choices are affecting the lives of others.
I think they recognize. I think you underestimate how insidious they are, how greedy they are.
Well, their reign of terror is coming to an end.
Amen. We are here to change the value systems, to rewrite the rules, to redefine what it means to be a man, to be a human. We've had many divine examples, men and women, okay? Some divinely created, very spiritual, generous, loving beings for us to all learn from.
Okay.
And as we become that, we're going to find ways. We will find ways to educate and correct.
I hope so. I'll be trying every day. That's probably the biggest thing on my mind is how to unchain somebody from some dumb belief. I spend too much time per day on thinking about that shit.
Me too, Joe. But what it is we are all on, I don't know how it all works. I don't claim to. But like we've been discussing, we are all variables and equations within this dynamic, ever-changing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, this creation of life that we're part of.
Could it be something as simple as this is, I don't know, your body, your physical is a bag, and what you are is that soul that bounces about, and the bag right now is part of a simulation. It's just, it's serving its purpose for a time, and then you move on and look like something totally different.
Yes.
Here's
the key, brothers and sisters. We only live now. So choose with intention now what you want to feel, what you want to do. Oh, and here there's scripture that I can't remember exactly what it is, but the spirit and the flesh, I mentioned this earlier, the spirit and the flesh work against each other. But if we can recognize the spirit within ourselves, recognizing that our body is a vessel. It's a vehicle for sharing life, sharing love, sharing wisdom with one another.
That's how we should look at it.
Jack,
Yes.
I'm going to take you back several months to our first meeting.
Uh-oh.
And you were on a panel and you were in a state of distress and you were asking for some insight and some positive reinforcement. And it was your headline show, but it wasn't your channel. And you even at that point in time when I offered, agreed that, the cult of Axis, if could send energy your way, you would accept that in a gracious manner. And I've kept an eye on you and various other people from that platform. And I appreciate your channel now and the decisions that you've made. But we did, as the cult of Axis, reinforce with positivity that which you asked. And it's surprising that you don't remember asking such a thing, and especially that you don't remember me.
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I mean, well, I don't know exactly what I don't remember, as you were reminding me. Thank you. I do vaguely remember somewhat of an exchange, and where I am in this world, I will receive all positivity that people want to offer.
Yeah, I
and so
wasn't alluding
thank
to anything. I was just bringing up our common ground and where it began.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I was worried when you said you were going to remind me of our first interaction. I was worried maybe I may owe some amends or apologies. I know Angry Cod has come out quite a bit.
No,
Welcome, Indoctrinated
not
by
to me.
Belief.
What's up, Jack? How you doing?
I'm feeling good. How are you? I love the crown. Coming in special today.
I didn't even say it. I didn't even say it.
Is that Burger King?
Oh my goodness. Hey, and Axis, thank you for allowing an open mind too. Let me not overlook what you said. Thank you for allowing an open mind and to allow I've come to recognize, and I don't know the totality of what this means. I only know my imagined perceptions. But I trust that we are part of something pretty amazing. I know my purpose.
To think so.
Well, I know my purpose. What I envision is just what I've been saying, a world where truth reigns supreme. Where
and
Go ahead.
Yes, Jack. Yes, Jack. I'm receptive.
Well, I think this is actually what many of us want. It's just the idea of accepting that this could be true. It means that we were wrong about the past, about believing it's not available. But I truly believe a world is available. I believe there's more people like us who are willing to take the facts in and accept, okay, shit's been messed up. I mean, all of us have gone through different levels of awakening to the different levels of deception and corruption.
Jack, if I could ask the panel a question. I think Jack was right. He said, I think we all agree. We want this accomplished. I think we do. And we all have a way we set about doing it. We know Jax is infamous. He's gonna talk to some fucking bigwig and put a bug in his ear, right? We know mine. If you don't know, I don't want to give mine right now anyway. What are some of you other guys' paths? How are we gonna accomplish this truth and stuff that Jack was just talking about?
I've been doing it through music videos on my
Very
channel.
good. That's
using
brilliant.
frequencies, and I use different videos that have samples. It's all original music. I've got a bunch more that I have just written, composed, and some older stuff from the vintage days.
Very good. Very good.
And suggestive influence.
Very good. Yeah. Anybody else? How are you gonna get there? How we get this world?
Well, I've been doing that for 30 years of my life, is trying to enlighten people. And for
I
the last,
assume that just by the way you
last
talk, I know you got your shit ready.
yeah, last 2.5 years, we've been doing this thing called the Missing Link. Today we had a really good day. We interviewed people from all around the world. Today we interviewed a guy named Gene Decode, which is an ex-submarine captain or whatever, and he's also martial artist. We had over 430 people watching live. It's already 2,000 people and I'm usually on 6 platforms, but he only likes to go on Zoom, and I don't really know Zoom, so I could only go on one platform. So it was only on Rumble that people could watch it, and it's already over 2,500 people have watched it just 4 hours ago. So
and it's very good on Rumble. That's very good on Rumble. All right?
Yeah, very.
It ain't got millions like YouTube got. You know, it ain't easy. You know, to get the numbers on Rumble.
Yeah, so we had a good day today. Plus, we before that we did the High Vibe Love Tribe. So that's where, when the lockdown first started, we decided to, instead of me like trying to enlighten people to what's going on, especially all the dark stuff, when they wanted everyone to be afraid, we changed the vibe, and we just started to raise the vibration. And so I'd get on, I'd smoke a joint, get on to live, I'd start dancing for an hour in front of everybody, all my funny wacky dancing, started incorporating weights, then did guided meditation, healing frequencies, Tibetan singing bowls. I would be ringing my bowl, and I'd be ringing my bowl every night. And we do this 11 straight months, 7 days a week, 2 to 4 hours every single night to raise the vibration. While they wanted everybody to be afraid, we just gave people a nice safe space. Couldn't talk politics, couldn't talk virus, couldn't talk anything, just positivity and love. And it actually, I had so many people that came and said how you literally saved my life. I hugged this one guy, and he's like, this is like the second time you saved my life. I'm like, what? He goes, you don't remember back in the days? And he goes, I was going to pick up my drunk girlfriend, and there's about 5 gangsters that were around her, and I was trying to get her, and they were just about to kick my ass, and you walked up and said, and I remember he was on my hockey team, and I said, I'm like, yo, are these guys trying to bother you? You guys better fuck up, right? And they just left him alone, and he's like, this is like the second time you saved my life. I was pretty hammered, but I've always just tried to help the underdog. When I seen someone being bullied or someone being picked on, I'd be the first to come in there and to help them, right? Because
it's not hard to believe, Joe. It's not hard to believe. Just by what I gained from the way you talk and shit, it is not hard to believe. You are serious about this shit, bro.
Yeah, man. So that's just who and what I am. And I just want better for this world. I truly care about people. I don't want harm to anyone. But if someone's trying to cause harm to others or me, well, I'm a Scorpio, and I do have a sting. So that's the one, like how you said, that dark side that everybody has. You don't want that coming out of me, man.
All right. You open up some shit. I gotta ask you a couple of questions now, man. Girl, I had some good questions. The Scorpio shit just all right, go ahead. Maybe I'll come back to it, man. That Scorpio shot some really good questions, and I fucking forgot on that quick. It'll come back. No, it'll come back to me. I was interrupting you because I wanted to get them questions in. I was cutting you off.
Jesse.
Did you catch that, Dominique?
What the Axel?
Did you catch that self-descriptive help that he defined, and then the end
I heard it.
statement?
I heard
Okay,
it,
I was
yeah.
just making sure.
Jesse, when you play with singing bowls, do you play with the crystal ones? Do you play with the brass ones? Are you lucky enough to use the gold one? Do you do counterclockwise or clockwise? Because it does two different things.
Yeah, so it's mostly clockwise. I can go right and left hand. This is my bowl. I really love the crystal bowls, but this was my first bowl that I bought. I've got a few of them.
What chakra is that one?
I don't have a crystal one, but this was my first one. And when I was in a rock and gem shop, I went to the
Sweet.
first little shop that I went. It was a rock and gem, like a fair, and they had all these little booths. And the first place that I went to, I tried all their bowls, and this was my favorite one. I went through the entire thing, tried every single bowl. I must have tried 60 bowls, but this was my favorite one. Came back to it. It was $88. My favorite number is 8, so it was perfect. I just knew this was the right bowl, and I just love the sound of this, and it just
What
makes
chakra
me
is it?
feel-
Sorry, which chakra is it?
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
it'd be nice to know that. And plus, at the same time, when you spin one way clockwise, that's actually doing one thing. That actually could be manifesting. When you spin it the other way, it's actually detoxing. So keep that in mind.
Really?
You have to, yeah. There's a lot to it. And then, of course, when you do it, it's kind of like when people do fasting for parasites. There's a science to all of this. So this is for you, because obviously I heard you talk about singing bowls. And as you get into different ones, now you might be lucky enough to have gold bowls, and that'll be a different game altogether. So
So it's called a
singing.
singing bowl. I didn't know it had a name. I never thought about it. Now I'm
Yes.
interested. It's called a singing bowl.
It's
Well,
kind of like
Tibetan-
drumming, Joe. It's like drumming in different cultures. It does different things. Think about Sanskrit. Sanskrit was a language that was given to the human race, and it plays with the molecules.
Hey, Jesse. Show
Thanks,
one
Jesse,
more
by the
time,
way.
Let's see your bowl, Jesse.
Oh, okay.
please.
So this is the inside of it. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
a Buddha. There's a Buddha lady or something inside, and then
Oh, yeah,
there's
it's nice.
pictures of. It's a little bit scratched up because I kind of take it everywhere I go.
That's great, bro.
I just love to
I
have this.
just
Going
remembered
out
I
in the
wanted to
mountains.
harass you, Jesse.
And
Let me
then here's
interrupt you again.
Just keep that thought. And so this is my
Oh
smaller
shit, I
little.
lost it. Keep going.
This is the smaller little one that
That's
I
really
have,
nice. Yeah,
and so
that's
And
really nice. I like that.
this one's a higher pitch.
Are you Buddhist, Jesse?
I'm everything. I don't label myself. I think labeling yourself divides
nice.
yourself from everything else. So I'm a little bit of everything, right? As long as it's not in a vibration that I'm in alignment with, I can go into any church or temple.
That's the kind of where I want the question to ask you. When you said you used that and you provided a space where everybody, you said call it a safe space where everybody could relax and not focus on politics and shit. Then when you said Scorpio, I immediately thought, I got to see if this cat's soft. Is there anything wrong with debating politics and shit like that?
No, not at all. So that's what we do at the Missing Link is about. I interviewed 60 doctors that are against the agenda. I interviewed people that are like, had sex with aliens. I've had like all kinds of, I interview all kinds of, anybody and everybody on the thing. But at the High Vibe Love Tribe, when they wanted people to be afraid, everybody was having their podcast and talking about the agenda, talking about politics, talking about all that tough stuff. Like I've done that for 30 straight years. I wanted to give people a safe place away from that. You can go and talk about politics anywhere but at our High Vibe Love Tribe, that was frowned upon. We just wanted to keep it at a higher vibration. So that way you didn't have to be, all day long. People would research and go on people's lives talking about all this, but they could come into a nice safe place where we didn't have to think about what was going on in the world. Just a nice protected, safe
it's a tool.
Space.
Of course, there's a time for that tool, right? It's a tool. Safe space cannot be evil. Surely there's a time for a safe space because there's a time for murdering a motherfucker if you had to.
Is there?
Well, I believe in the thou shalt not kill. So
do I. I know that Chicago's a shithole, and I'm not trying to throw shade at you, Joe. I just don't know why you're out harassing the cops in Chicago. They just
cops
got
are-
some law in Chicago. You don't even have to be a resident there to be a policeman. What could possibly go wrong? You get somebody from the cartel and a job at the police force.
Yeah.
You're in like Flint.
Let's face it, you couldn't do no worse than they're doing now. Yeah.
You're in like the poison in Flint, Michigan's water.
Yeah. But that's what happens, right? When you disarm a population, man, right? You put the worst neighborhood in the world and you give everybody there no weapons. They are prey. The bad guys are going to run rampant. That's to be expected. And these cops suck, man. I'd rather have my guys out there. I don't give a fuck about these cops. 50% of my
But those
budget.
cops are protecting your city, bro.
I can't tell. They don't protect shit. I ain't seen them protect shit.
Okay.
You ain't been to Chicago. Those cars have never suck and solved a crime. Their crime rate for if you lose your car and shit like that is less than 10%, something like 6%.
Well, why don't the people just stop stealing
Hey.
and get jobs? That'd be a better message for you to put out.
Well, here, this is.
No, we're okay. I'm okay with this, Jack. This is no issue for me, and apparently it's no issue for him. Don't sense tension here. I think we're
I
good.
got no
I
tension.
love this shit.
I'm as real as it gets.
Yes. Let's. You say people should stop stealing. Well,
Yeah.
as long as we're being honest, all them black folks making up that larger population of jail, and those white folks in there too. They're not in there for stealing. They're in there for drugs. Yeah.
They're in there because we have an immoral and a corrupted judicial and economic system.
Just
And-
numerically, they're in there for drugs. The majority of motherfuckers is in there for drugs.
Why don't they get
Every-
jobs instead of selling drugs?
Selling
the
drugs
system-
is a job. Where you
Oh,
come
okay.
from?
Oh, okay, yeah. And then
Well-
those
Yeah.
drugs make their way back to the
Corrupted.
community, to the kids and stuff. That's some fucking good work you're doing in the community then.
I'm sorry,
about
I didn't
we-
see you protesting the CVS, all them drugs they got out there. You be out there? Or is it just we can't sell drugs?
I did
Hey,
all the protests in my city
let's-
when they happened. I can't go protest by myself. That's why we say people got to stand together and die
Very
alone.
good. But you think CVS needs to go down. Yeah. And while you had it, Abdul at the 7-Eleven where they sell that alcohol, he got to go too. Yeah.
What is with always racism with you? Why is he Abdul at the 7-Eleven?
All right. Hey, guys, you know what? This is not
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm relaxed.
right. Well, this is not the, the
All right,
arguments and stuff. This is not what I'm here
Yes,
for.
sorry, I just always wanted this chance. Have a good night, Jack.
You're good, man. I ain't got a problem with
No,
it.
that shows what Smith is coming for is his
But this
little
is Jack's show.
few moments of
Really?
egoic interruption and attention.
Yes, but he needs a sharp motherfucker up here, right? It was his opportunity to fucking learn something. I mean, it's
I
your
agree,
show. You
Jack.
want to
This
knock
is
that
an
motherfucker?
opportunity for everyone to learn, and this finger pointing and blaming, yeah, it's all fun and it's all entertaining, but it doesn't accomplish anything.
Oh, for you to let me work him, Joe. I had it plotted out about 30
I
steps
know,
in. He
and-
didn't stand a chance, bro.
Hey, and you know what? This is a conversation I would entertain, but we're coming up at 2 hours. I've already had in my mind a few minutes ago that 2 hours is a beautiful time to wrap up.
All right, sounds
gonna-
good, man. I'm off today, man. I'm watching boxing. I'm having a fucking blast. Always a pleasure. You cats be easy.
Joe, respect. Thank
Take
you
care.
for joining. Others, I don't mean to throw a wrench in and all of a sudden it's time to wrap up, but it's time to wrap up. Any final words today?
Jack, I just appreciate you allowing me on your panel. I appreciate everyone on the panel, and this is time well spent. Thank you very much.
Respect. Thank you, Axis. I appreciate what you brought today too. Feel free to join again in the future.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, brother Jesse.
Thanks, Jack. Another good episode, another good show. I've had a good day. I was supposed to have another interview starting at 12 minutes ago, but the guy's son got injured, and he said he was going to probably have to take him to the hospital, so he had canceled. His name is John Keane, a really very intelligent guy who knows a lot. He does a graphic show about everything that's going on in the world. So that's why I decided that got canceled. I'm going to come hang out with you for a little bit. And it's always a pleasure chatting with people, having great conversation. And I seen why, we were having good flow there. And then all of a sudden it was kind of at each other and kind of, deterred away from the really good flow that we were having. So I could see why that kind of, got you wanting to just wrap this up. So you have an awesome night. Keep going. Love you, man. And, we'll see you next time we see you.
Hey, respect. Thank you, Jesse. I'm going to throw you the back. Can I ask, though, before you take off, if you throw your Rumble link in the private, it'll save me from looking it up. I plan to link the show you talked about in the description afterwards. So please and thank you, Jesse. Brothers and sisters, all those who did join the panel, I know I should try and make a list in my mind. Dominic and Cage and Axis and Jesse and Joe and Smith, and I know I'm leaving some out right in front of my face. And I don't mean to overlook anyone who joined. Thank you for those who joined the panel. Those who joined the chat, offered your observations and input. The topic, my intentions, my offerings to you, brothers and sisters, is, well, hopefully some inspiration and encouragement. We had a lot of discussions today, and what it comes down to is open your mind to know. Okay? Move beyond the conditioned beliefs to recognize there is a connection. There's a connection and a unity, and there is a perfection to the order, to the chaos. There is an order within the chaos, and within the chaos of your life, even when it gets chaotic, within your centerness of being, in the moment of now, there's a stillness and a bliss. And an absence of conflict, an absence of disruption, there is an absence of problems. And it's found in the stillness within you at this moment of now and at all moments. It's just a matter of remembering. Okay, so remember who you are. You are that powerful stillness that knows. You are the powerful awareness of knowing now from your perspective. And so celebrate your perspective, celebrate your knowing, celebrate the joy of being you, and fill yourself with that light, that love, that force of life that awakens you each morning. Become that force of life. And embrace the change, embrace the dynamic, embrace who you are, and offer you, the greater you, to the greater you of the world. With their brothers and sisters, please do the subscribe thing. I noticed with the drama, I lost a few subscribers, but if you know of others who enjoy conversations such as what was offered today, please send them this way. And brothers and sisters, till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless.